Hello there. Welcome to the Esteban Hours Week in Review. Happy Monday. I hope everybody has had a great weekend. I'm your host, Esteban, and on today's show is going to be a great show. We have a great lineup for you. Number one, the mysterious death of a crypto millionaire. We will talk about that. He was found in a barrel, dead. Number two, Miss Cardi B. She fans getting out of hand, and we're gonna see what happened to her and what she did in response. Number three, we will go over the life of Pee Wee Herman, also known as Paul Rubens, and his death. Also, the death of Angus Cloud, who is from the show Euphoria. I believe an HBO show, very popular show. He's also passed away. Then we have what we call global boiling and the Colorado River. Colorado River is drying up these days. Is it attached to climate control, global boiling? We don't know. What about UFOs? That's on the topic list today. Congress held a meeting last week in regards to UFO sightings, and we're going to discuss that. Yes. Then Mr. Giuliani is back into the news media. Why? This one is a doozy in regards to some inappropriate comments made to one of his employees. Then we got Lizzo. She's been recently sued by some ex dancers of hers, and we're going to find out why. Also, her statement that she's released in regards to it. Then we have David Kelso, who's been arrested on uh, child sex um, uh, trafficking charges. And we're going to go into that. Then, lastly, Mr. Mitch McConnell. He was recently booed in his own hometown of Kentucky. Why? Why, or I should say, why not, right? As well as Miss Dianne Feinstein. She has done some new legal proceedings in her life, and we're going to discuss that. So, getting into it, let's first bring in our co host, Mr. Jeremy Baker. Hey, Jeremy.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. And I hope everybody had a good weekend. Like I
How
said,
was
my
your
days are all
weekend?
the same. Everything kind of just runs together anymore these days. So it was all right. It was uneventful, but it was okay.
All right. Well, we have a long list on our topic docket this week. So let's get right into it, shall we?
Oh
Okay.
boy.
Number one, crypto influencer Fernando Perez Algaba found dead. Children found body parts in a barrel. Um, what happened?
Yeah, apparently this is not and this is from the West Australian. This guy was found in a suitcase, not a barrel. So I guess we have to like it matters, but
Not received. Thank
yeah,
you.
he was. I'm sorry. Yeah, he had a very luxurious life. Like he had like 900,000 followers on Instagram. And he was in the crypto gig, and apparently he owed some people money. And towards the end of the article, there was actually an Argentinian outlet named Telem reported that Algaba had been receiving voice messages from a
Yep.
man only identified as Iglesias, and the messages were some, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going, I'm going to do something worse to you. I'm going to gouge your eyes out, and cut off your hands, so that you can't have any more money in your life." Like this is the, whoo, like he must have been in some serious stuff to get some messages like that. But he's not the
So
only one of these crypto guys that have been killed mysteriously. I read articles from January. And there was an article about four at the end of last year. There was four that were murdered in the last 30 days. Uh,
Wow.
well, died
These were
mysterious.
all these were all gentlemen who were involved in cryptocurrency who
Exactly.
mysteriously died.
I mean, it's an unregulated, for the most part, industry. You know what I mean? There's no insurance on it. There's no, you don't go to a bank and you know what I mean, like and talk to a person like that. These everything's online and everything's high risk, high reward with these guys, and they're all about flash and they're all about money. You
Well,
know what I mean? You're gonna
one
meet
thing
some of the wrong people.
one thing I know in the crypto business is that it is a big money business, right?
Mm.
You can win, you can make a lot of money very fast, and you can lose a lot of money very fast. So these gentlemen that perhaps have been involved in some shady deals have has found the hard way of it's not a great game to be in. But I've also read up that some of them are involved in shady deals, borrowing money from loan sharks or gangs, gambling. So it all comes in this territory. It's really frightening. It's really frightening.
Hmm.
I just want to point out that this suitcase by was found by children in a stream near Buenos Aires. Okay, only his arms and legs were found in that suitcase. I mean, it must have been a scary, frightening opening that suitcase and finding a pair of hands,
Arms and legs, just
arms and legs.
it's
Yeah,
not funny. It's not funny,
it,
but damn,
it's not,
those kids
but
are.
wow, wow.
That's not what you would expect to be in a suitcase. I would admit that would be the last thing is a pair of arms and legs. I didn't. I probably
And
wouldn't have
and
saw that
days,
coming either. So,
and days later, his head and torso were found floating downstream in a backpack.
yep, he definitely was hooking up with some of the wrong people, obviously. But that's hey, you know what I mean? I call FAFO. You know what I mean? He effed around and he
Scary,
found out. Yeah, I'm trying
scary.
to coin the term called FAFO.
Right. Well,
uh,
regardless, human life is human life, and we send our condolences and sympathies to the family of this gentleman, and definitely hope that they get to the bottom of who is the culprit killer of this young man. Okay, moving on. Next, Cardi B. There were some fans that got out of control at one of her concerts, right? And they threw some water at her, and she fought back. Let's roll this tape.
there is something really funny about this video.
Now, I want to remind the audience that Cardi B is from New York. So
Mhm.
to see her do that does not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
She is a no nonsense. I'm from the hood. You ain't throwing
Hmm.
you ain't throwing no water at me. And she threw that
Right. I
mic back.
mean,
I'm sure
eh,
she would have rather threw a punch in the face.
yeah. I mean, this trend of harassing these entertainers is ridiculous. And what's going to end up is they're just not going to do stage performances anymore. And then you're going to be, one less thing you can do out in public. It's just
I mean, I think
insane.
it's a
But
long road before we get to that, because this is how they make their money, how they make their
yeah.
living. They might vet a little bit more if that can be done, because you do have tens of thousands of people that show up at these venues.
Hmm.
But definitely, according to the video, this was
I think
unprovoked.
I think maybe she threw the water because Cardi B wasn't actually singing. If anybody noticed the video, when she threw the microphone, She was still
I have
rapping.
to
I mean,
say,
yeah.
I have to say, when I saw the video, that was the first thing that came to my mind. Not the water, not the bouncers
I
going
had to,
into the crowd, and not the lady they were trying to escort out. It was the fact that her song kept going. So I said to
I had
myself,
to point it
"Wait,
out.
so this was lip singing throughout the whole time. Is that what people was paying for?"
I mean, hey, if you're gonna pay that kind of money to get into a show, I don't know what kind of show it was, but I mean, I'm assuming you had to pay to get in. I'd be upset too if they weren't actually doing live. I mean, come on.
She looked good as
Yeah.
she always does. She looked good. But hey, how about some singing there, huh?
Ugh.
All right. Um, so we have some deaths to announce. Sadly, Pee Wee Herman passed away at the age of, I think it was 70, 72, something
Mhm.
like that. Do you remember Pee Wee Herman, whose real name is Paul Rubens, right?
Oh, you're asking me? Yeah, absolutely. I grew up on Pee Wee Herman, man. Every Saturday or Sunday or whatever it was, I used to love that show. The movies,
Saturday
like all
morning.
that, I loved.
Saturday
Huh?
mornings at around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, Pee Wee's Playhouse came on,
Yeah,
and it was funny as a kid. Some people would say it was dumb. Maybe so, arguably so. It
it
was
was. But I mean, the
funny,
shows today are dumb too. I mean, come on, SpongeBob. Like that's not exactly a high intellect show. You
right?
know what I mean? So,
But it
but
was part
you
of
got to
that
think.
Saturday morning lineup, and
Yeah,
it was entertaining, at least
yeah. For you
to me.
younger people out there, we didn't have all day cartoons like you spoiled ass kids did. We only had it like on a few hours on the weekend, and then the rest of the week we had to suffer without them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Like savages.
we have a clip of Pee Wee Playhouse's intro. Let's play that.
Yeah, it was so silly.
And pull yourself up a chair. But the fun begins. Time to let down your hair.
That was the famous Pee Wee's Playhouse, and that's exactly what he did. It was hilarious. Let's play this next clip of an actual show, and in this clip, we will see the young
Really
and
young.
great actor, Mr. Lawrence Fishburne. Play that clip.
Please, we've had such a lovely time. Let's not spoil it.
Okay, game's over. That's it.
Well, you seem ready for your date, Curtis. Just remember, the most important thing is be yourself.
Yee-haw! Thank you, Countess, and thank you, Pee Wee. Welcome.
This brings back memories.
Hi, Dixie. Hi, King. How's it going?
Pretty good.
That's the word of the day.
The word
And that's
of
all
the
it
day.
was.
That's
That's
what it
all it
was.
was. It was just straight
Everything went
silliness.
crazy, right? The couches, the
Yeah.
clocks, the walls, everything went crazy when the word of the day was announced. That was one of his special elements to his show. It was fun.
Keep in
It
mind,
was fun,
this
and
is back
as
in
a
the
kid, it
80s,
was
though.
very entertaining.
Yes, you got to think this is a long time ago. We're talking, what, 40 years ago now? I mean,
Don't even
almost.
say it. Don't even
So, all
say it.
right, I
Don't
got
even
to show
say
this one clip, and I think everybody will that used to watch Pee Wee Herman will at least appreciate. And this movie was just all silly and fun and whatever. But I was 8 years old when this came out, and this part of this movie used to scare the living shit out of me. And it was the Large Marge scene. And I think everybody that's seen this movie and was a kid, well, they'll probably think I'm an
it.
idiot, but
Saw the worst accident I ever seen. There was this sound, like a garbage truck dropped off the Empire State Building.
so cheesy now. But
And when they finally pulled the driver's body,
He's all into
from
that
a
story.
twisted, burning
here we go.
wreck, it looked like this.
Yeah, I swear to God, every time that part would come on, all my friends thought it was funny. I thought it was terrifying. I would always cover my eyes and my ears up and shit. I swear to God. I have no idea why. And even till today, it's still kind of creepy to me. But
Well,
that was back in the day,
all of
man.
us,
That's how we grew
all
up.
of his fans will forever remember Pee Wee Herman, Mr. Paul Rubens, rest in peace. We thank you for bringing in your humor into our living rooms. Also, we have sadly a death, Mr. Angus Cloud, young guy, has passed away at the age of 25. He's from that hit show Euphoria, I believe, on HBO,
Mhm.
that deals with teenage drama, violence, sex, guns,
It's
gang activity.
it's a hard show to watch. I mean, as a parent, you know, I mean, I watched. It's about everything teenage. I mean, it's about teenage drug abuse and addiction. It's about teenagers going through transitions and transgenderism. It's about
Mhm.
teen pregnancy, abortion, like it's literally the whole gambit of like teenage issues you could possibly imagine. And it's a hard show to watch. Like it shows some pretty harsh, I'm sure, things that are more reality than people think. I mean, it's very graphic. The show is.
Well, I mean, no wonder as to why it's a popular show, watched
Yeah,
by millions of people.
yeah. One of my favorite characters though was this guy Angus Cloud. He played like he was a drug dealer, but he played like a big brother kind of guy too, who was real protective over the main character. And off the top of my head, I'm gonna obviously forget her name, but I'll go ahead and play this. Just a little background on Angus Cloud here.
Everybody gets their feelings hurt. You know, some people need to get their feelings hurt sometimes.
ET confirms Angus Cloud has died. He was 25 years old.
Is it a threat? Nah, I'm just telling you.
TMZ was first to break the story, following up to a report that his mom made the call to 911 saying he may have overdosed. We've learned the actor's death follows a personal tragedy. Angus's family says last week he buried his father and intensely struggled with this loss.
So, sorry about
Yeah,
that.
so that's what happened. He recently buried his father,
Mhm,
and he was dealing. It wasn't well for him. It looks like he was very close to his dad, and it was
mhm,
quite emotional for him, especially as a young man. And who can
mhm.
blame him? No one at the age of 25 would ever think that they would lose their parent.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, it took a turn for the worse for him.
You
Um,
know, I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, honestly, I was in almost the exact same position. I was already in the middle of using, I was, abusing drugs or whatever, and my father died, and I went off the deep end too. Like, there's a couple occasions where, I almost didn't come back. So I can definitely relate to what addiction and tragedy combined can. And they said it's not a suicide; it was an accidental overdose, from what I've read. So it was just, he was mourning in his own way, and unfortunately, when you are into drugs and have loss like that, it's not usually a good combination.
well, he had a lot
Way to
going for
drown out your feelings.
he had a lot going for him as well with his show and everything. So I would like to think, in my opinion, that he was not trying to kill himself, but most likely trying to medicate his feelings.
And well, that's usually when most drugs are just drown your feelings out is typically what it's all about. You know what I mean? You don't like what you're feeling, so you do the one thing you know how to do to get rid of them. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
especially if you're like unexpected death of your father is a pretty easy trigger to go off the deep end.
yeah.
And it's not
Oh,
hard if you're, it's not hard to not come back from that kind of thing. It's not.
right.
Um,
That's
you
true.
know,
Well, again, we send our condolences and sympathies to the family of Mr. Angus Cloud. May he rest in peace. Okay, moving on to whoa, the Colorado River. Um, they're going through, they're experiencing different types of droughts. I guess the Colorado River, which is connected to seven different states that surround the river, all get water from this river.
Yeah, I actually
And
found the perfect clip to explain it from 60 Minutes, and it actually does a really good. It
let's do it.
shows visually what it's
stricken
really at
Colorado
risk here.
River is in critical condition. Almost 2 years ago, the federal government declared the first ever shortage on the river, triggering cuts to water supplies in the Southwest. Today, the river remains unsustainably low. The Colorado is the lifeblood of the region. It waters some of the country's fastest-growing cities, nourishes some of our most fertile fields, and powers $1.4 trillion in annual economic activity. The river runs more than 1,400 miles from headwaters in the Rockies to its delta in northern Mexico, where it ends in a trickle. 7 states and 30 Native American tribes lie in the Colorado River Basin. As we first reported in 2021, the river has been running dry due to the historically severe drought.
Thank you.
So it's
I just want to mention thank you, 60 Minutes, for that video clip there. And also thank you to ET for the last clip that we had just recently seen. Go ahead.
oh no, yeah, that I think it shows very good or very, it's scary when they show it like that. You know what I mean? It really shows what's going to happen here in the near future. Like if the Colorado River dries out, that's millions of people that are going to be out of water in
Well,
that area.
actually, it's about 40 million Americans that share that body of water, that river.
Hmm.
Now, it's been told that this problem has been building for decades. This is not new stuff. And in fact, 6 out of the 7 states that take from this river have agreed to an approach for cuts. To help preserve or prolong the water. But they're still in this plight of needing water.
I hate that we're always reacting to stuff. We don't. I mean, people tell us for decades, look, this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem. And we're like, we're good. And then it becomes a problem. We're like, oh no, now we
Right,
got to fix the problem.
right.
And we
Meanwhile,
constantly do that.
you've had years. In this case, they said that this has been an ongoing problem for decades. So they've had a long, long time to discuss what the issues are or what can be done. I think there needs to be a little bit more bipartisanship between the red and blue states that are surrounding this river before the drought situation starts to affect everybody, whether it's blue or red.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point because this is going to affect everybody, regardless of political affiliation or race or gender or sex or whatever. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? This is something that does. I mean, maybe this is going to be what brings the people together. I don't know. And but I hate the fact that it has to be something so extreme in order for people to come together.
And it ties into the climate change, right? Global
Yeah,
boiling. The
global boiling.
atmosphere is heating up. The atmosphere is heating up. And now, some folks don't believe in climate change, but my opinion is that are you waiting for us to boil over, or are you waiting for that one specific hurricane that takes out an entire a county or state? What are folks waiting for
Hmm.
before they can come to a full understanding that there is something going on with our atmosphere? Say
Oh,
what you
absolutely.
want about it, blame who you want about it, The point being is, as humans who have been put on this earth to in charge of this earth, what are we doing, or what will we do to help slow the process? The atmosphere is the temperature of the atmosphere is rising. They recently said a couple of weeks ago, in these high heat temperatures that we've all been experiencing around the world, not just the United States, but in the United Kingdom, France, Italy, Africa. Africa has been experiencing some detrimental heat indexes lately. And we know that Africa is known to be hot anyway, but it's just been hotter. Florida's water temperature has been over 100 degrees, which is causing reactions to the environmental aspect of it, the fish and the living species and plants.
The coral is really important there because the coral feeds a lot of the fish life down there.
Right.
And that's, I can't survive it. I mean, it's supposed to be, you know what I mean? This whole planet is like, it balances itself out. Like everything works the way it's supposed to. We keep coming in and messing it up.
So, I mean, who cares whose fault it is or whose fault it's not? Can we just get together and come up with a resolution to deal with it? And how long are people going to put money before our Earth?
Yeah, if there's no planet left to live on,
then money doesn't matter. That money doesn't matter.
No, but here I found a good clip that explains how harsh the situation really is. This guy's accent, I think, just brings the point home. I just love this guy.
Play this clip.
All right.
Today, the World Meteorological Organization announced July is on pace to be the hottest month ever recorded on Earth. Here in the United States, 170 million people are under heat alert. On Thursday, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the world has entered the age of global boiling.
For vast parts of North America, Asia, Africa, and Europe, it's a cruel summer. For the entire planet, it is a disaster. And for scientists, it is unequivocal. Humans are to blame. All this is entirely consistent with predictions and repeated warnings. The only surprise is the speed of the change. Climate change is here, it is terrifying, and it is just the beginning. The era of global warming has ended, the era of global boiling has arrived.
You see what he said, right? The era of global warming has ended and the era of global boiling has arrived. Now, for many years, many folks disregarded that title, right, of global warming. There's no global warming, there's no global warming, there's no global warming. In fact, when we would experience this type of heat, they would say, look, you know, we're getting heat, but it's too much, and now we're boiling.
Yeah, we're kind of screwed now. Either way, I don't know if we're past the point of no return, or if we're just going to have to go through it for a few years or decades or whatever. I mean, but there's other things people don't even think about, like
are going to die.
I mean, that's stuff that most people don't think about is like the ice that's melting up in the polar ice caps. I mean, this stuff's been frozen in there since before man. I mean, ancient
and it's melting
stuff.
At a record rate.
So there could be bacteria, pathogens, other things that we've never even experienced before now being put out into the world. I mean, there's a lot of threats that are out there that people don't think about when it comes to global warming or now global boiling. The ocean currents could change. The weather patterns could be completely different. Like it's a serious situation. And it has a lot to do with it. And I always throw these numbers out there. And I told you this before, like it took until the year 1807. So from the beginning of human history, all the way down there until the year 1807 for the planet's population to reach 1 billion people. So in 215 more years, we hit 8. So from thousands, tens of thousands, 100, whatever, to just 215 years.
Yeah.
And as a result, there's more production to keep up with the demand of the more people. If we continue this pace That's why Kamala Harris was talking about we have to reduce our population, and she's absolutely right. People need to stop having so many damn kids. You know, I mean, you gotta be responsible about it.
All of us have the responsibility of helping to protect our Earth, our planet, the climate. We all have the responsibility of doing that. I just hope that many come to the realization that we have to do something sooner rather than later. And as this gentleman just mentioned, we're at the point of global boiling. It gets worse every year. I think July is on record now for being the hottest month in history
Ever.
since records have been taken.
Yeah.
That says a lot. That says a lot, and it's not something that should be ignored.
I mean, that showed the temperature was like 130 degrees. I think that was that was in America. I think it was the hottest point on Earth. Right
Yeah.
there was 130 degrees, I believe.
Yeah,
Might be
and
mistaken, but I'm pretty
and
sure
we
that is
talk
it.
about folks that don't even have enough money to be able to get air conditioners, right? Or maybe even fans. So it's like it's inevitable that as the temperatures continue to rise, people are going to be dying. People are going to be dying.
So, I mean,
don't understand why some don't care about that. I guess
you brought up.
the almighty dollar is more important.
I was just gonna say that. Stop taking words out of my mouth. You just brought it up earlier. It's the money's more important than the regulations to clean the air. They would rather just keep pumping out dirty air. Because Philadelphia, I think, was recorded as the worst atmosphere or the worst air environment in the world. In Philly, because of all the manufacturing and all the toxic stuff they spew out into the air. You know, but again, more people requires more production. So the more we consume, the more they have to produce. And it's just going to keep going on and on unless they invest some of their money into greener or more efficient energy to keep their operations running. It's just going to keep going like this. The corporations, like you said, have to step up and start putting hundreds of millions of lives in front of a few $1 million. You know what I mean?
Well, we will keep the audience updated on this. This is a very important topic because this affects everybody. So even though the Colorado River is in drought and it's only surrounded by 40 million people and 7 states, this really affects all of us, because if they go down, we all indirectly will go down too. Okay, let's move on to a I don't know, crazy topic. UFOs, unidentified foreign objects. It's a crazy topic or subject, right? Some people don't even want to touch it. But Congress recently had a meeting, and they brought in some former pilots, I guess, or people that worked or still work for the military, the United States military. And these folks testified of seeing UFOs many times. We have a clip about that. Let's play that.
Steve, we have crashed craft stated earlier. Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Just a little snippet from a House Oversight Committee hearing on unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UFOs, as they were formally known. Now, this hearing included 3 individuals who claim that the Defense Department has been hiding UFOs from Congress and the general public.
Interesting.
Right? I mean, but I think what I'm laughing about is like nobody gives a shit. We're finally seeing UFOs and nobody's like, we've been through so much. We don't even care anymore. We're like, please, Just
Well,
come down.
first
Help
of
us out.
all, thank you to TYT Television and also to
Yes.
C-SPAN for your video clip coverage that we were able to provide to our followers. In regards to UFOs, this has been a topic on many people's minds for decades.
Mhm.
But the government has kept tight-lipped on any information coming out in regards to this. So you've got to ask yourself, is the Defense Department hiding things? Are there actual UFO sightings that they don't want us to know because perhaps maybe we would go in an uproar?
To me, it's just hard to. It's just hard. It's still hard to believe. It's still just hard to believe. You know what I mean? It's like whatever. We've been saying there's UFOs and stuff. I mean, but that does change things. And I mean, these are credible references to these or
He
sources.
said non-human biologics.
Yeah,
have been found.
exactly.
That's
crazy.
crazy. That is frightening. That is so frightening. I mean, could you imagine going to a crash site and pulling out a non-human?
I mean, like I don't get paid enough for this shit. I'm out.
It's totally from a movie. It is a movie thing. I think I would die. I would end up in the mental institution. But the point being is that apparently this is real. This is not TV, folks. This is not TV. So are we gonna, are we gonna start paying attention? Should we start paying attention?
There's some videos out there. You go on YouTube to see it, and there's pilot videos of the craft going by. But it's so hard these days. Like people don't know what to believe. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't know what to believe because of you. I'm not even going to say his name on this episode, but because of certain people, nobody knows what to believe anymore. So now I think everybody's just like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Until aliens literally come down and be like,
I was just about to say that. Until there's
we're right here.
We've
been trying to tell you. You know, we're they are real. Oh, okay, cool. But until then, it's gonna be like, nah, whatever. People don't care anymore. I can't believe though that aliens is like not a big story. It's like, oh yeah, we found out there's aliens.
Not a big story. Verse there's so much happening in the world today, let alone our country. So it's like there's so much that people have to split their minds on. And now you're bringing up UFOs, which some folks probably still don't believe that. So it's still considered in a way fiction. So some may say, I don't want to discuss that. Others are just frightened of the idea that there are unidentified foreign objects among us.
Yeah, I think Fox News talked more about Biden drinking out of a dark brandy coffee cup than they did this UFO story. I mean, for real, they were bugging out about that ad. How could he? What?
Yeah,
seriously. It was like that much of it was like a blip, and then it just went away. The story. It's crazy.
That's another topic for another day.
Yeah, I gotta get those videos, man.
All right, moving on to our friend. Not really, but Mr. Rudy Giuliani. I never can get enough of this picture with the hair dye running down his face. It just helps prove how not all there he has become. But Mr. Rudy Giuliani is back into the news again, but this time it's not politics. It's transcripts that has been released in regards to a shocking conversation that he's had with an ex-employee that is now suing him for sexual harassment, discrimination, failure to pay.
He never paid her. Yeah, I mean,
she was promised like $1 million or something, and she was only paid like 30-something thousand.
I mean, seriously though, if you're getting $1 million a year, I'd be like, you don't get that monthly? Like, what's the deal? I would start asking questions pretty damn quick. But no, the transcript is gross. Like it's like I gotta say it, but Giuliani's like Gollum, and her boobs are his precious. Like, that's
I
how
would
he's
like you.
acting. He's like,
I would like you to read a little bit of these accusations of what he
here,
actually
let
said.
me. I'm gonna pull up the first. He calls here when he tells, I think it's the doorman or whoever. He calls her his daughter first of all, which is gross. And you can see here, this is March 12th, 2019. And I can't say the words, but you can see there to come here, come here. He refers to her boobs about 6, 7 times in one sentence. And then the last part there, these breasts belong to me. I don't know who talks like this. These breasts belong to me. Should I say like Gollum does? These breasts. And nobody else gets near these, okay? I don't care if they're flirting or giving you business cards. These are mine. You got it? Like, and this is from Newsweek of all places. But apparently this is transcripts from an audio recording, which I cannot wait to hear. I just hope there's no video. I hope there's no video because I do not want to see Julie on Pornhub doing his thing. I do not want to see that.
Let's not forget about a past video that surfaced of him in a hotel room, laying down on the bed and about to open his pants. You remember that?
That was from a movie. That was actually from a movie, Borat. But the situation was they were setting him up like that. He thought he was getting ready to get some, but they stopped him. That was actually part of the move. Like that's how he is though. Like he's just a dirty old pervert.
Yeah,
I mean,
very, very shocking clip or transcript that anyone could say to one of their employees, "Bring your tits over to me. Those are my tits." Very.
I wasn't going to say the word, but you just went ahead and did it.
Listen,
why do I have to be the one that behaves?
It is what it is, and that is what the transcript said. And so I am bringing it out, especially being that he's been accused by a Noel Dunphy of rape and sexual abuse. Those are serious allegations. Allegations of which he denies. We will say he denies. But again, very far from the America's mayor that we once respected.
Yeah, he's definitely not the Giuliani everybody remembers or wanted to remember anyway. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Too much listening to who.
And even if even if she's making the charges up at this point, the transcripts alone are just so bad. The way he acts.
If that is his words in his voice, then forget it. I don't know what else could be said or defended on. But we will see as the story continues to progress. We will see what happens with that. Let's move on. Next to superstar, singer, and dancer Lizzo. Now, Lizzo has recently been sued by former backup dancers in regards to they accuse her of weight shaming them, and they also accuse her of sexual harassment. Something went down at a strip club that they were pressured to do things. What's going on with that?
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently there was some people were put in some uneasy positions I guess they didn't want to be in. Put into an Amsterdam performance club. I don't know what they're called or what you want to call it. All I know is there was people touching other people, performers, just chaos. There was a banana in a vagina somewhere. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what goes on in those clubs over there, but yeah, apparently there was a lot going on there that some people were uncomfortable with.
And they say that they were pressured. They say that they were pressured into doing it. My opinion on this is that first of all, Amsterdam is a very free country. That's the first thing. The second thing is that how pressured are you to touch somebody that you don't have to touch. You don't have to do that. I mean, are they afraid for their jobs? Because they don't have their jobs anymore. So why couldn't they feel like they couldn't just, laugh it off and be like, no, I don't want to do that. And why is this lawsuit coming out just now? You've got 3 former dancers who filed a lawsuit against the singer Lizzo, accusing her of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. But
And
not
weight
just them.
shaming of all
You
things.
you have not just them. You have some other folks that have worked with her or for her in the past that have corroborated in some in somewhat way with what these 3 former dancers have done. Repeat what you just said.
Oh no, I don't even remember. Just go, go ahead.
Now, I think the biggest part of this story is that this performer is known for embracing body product positivity and celebrating her physique, right? Of being a big girl. Until she came out, there wasn't much light put on full-figured, beautiful women. And
Mhm.
this is her. This has been her brand. So the
Mhm.
question remains: is it true that you're body shaming other women that are big figure women such as yourself? Is that true? I don't know if I necessarily believe that.
And that was she went on TV because the whole point of hiring dancers, she wanted dancers that were more like her. That was the
Yeah,
whole point. She even
yeah,
said it on TV. So for her to weight shame girls that people struggling with your weight is something that a lot of people deal with. I mean, I even deal with it. Um, but to body shame girls that you hired because of the way they look, you know what I'm saying? That just doesn't make sense to
it
me.
doesn't.
To hire people for that specific reason and to
Yeah,
showcase bigger women and then to
yeah.
go ahead and weight shame them.
So there's obviously more to the story that we don't know that I'm sure will come out in and throughout this lawsuit. Now Lizzo has responded to after 3 of her former dancers filed this lawsuit last week. Um, Here's what she said. The last few days have been gut wrenchingly difficult and overwhelmingly disappointing. My work ethic, morals, and respectfulness have been questioned. My character has been criticized. Usually, I choose not to respond to false allegations, but these are as unbelievable as they sound and too outrageous to not be addressed. And that's coming straight directly from Lizzo. So, let's see, it's her word against theirs. And if there's proof to this, it will come out again
If
at the court case.
I mean, if what they're saying is true, I mean, I suspect that there's going to be other women coming out saying the
Perhaps.
same
Yeah.
thing. If that's the
Yeah.
case, it's hard to, see, that's what I don't like. We always say innocent until proven guilty, but like as soon as the accusations start flying, you know what I mean? You don't know what you're like, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. It's like you don't know what to believe. So I like to try and let the story play out a little bit.
Absolutely.
Um,
Reserve
this
your judgment. Reserve.
Or they could settle out of court and the story just kind of goes away and Lizzo tries to recover from the accusations. But
Right.
it could be a million different things. But I doubt this will ever go to trial or anything like that because they're probably just, I mean, they either got fired or they quit because they felt it was a hostile work environment. So,
Well, it will remain to be seen.
yes.
Okay. Next on the docket, former what do you call it? Fayette County deputy charged with child sex crimes in McNairy County. This gentleman right here. What info do you have on this?
Let me pull it up here. Yeah, former child sex crimes in McNairy County. Let me go ahead and
30 years old. 30
Yep.
years old. And he was charged with contributing delinquency of a minor incest, rape, and sexual battery by an authority figure. That's major. That is major, major, major.
Yeah, she is stepdaughter. Yeah, so apparently he's a pretty disgusting human being that used to be a cop. I used to be a deputy. That's what I see. I mean, people like assume because people are cops, they're good people and abide by the law. That's not always the case, man. There's still messed up people that
Now,
are.
I would love not to make this situation a political situation, because this is a serious accusation and serious charges that must be dealt with. But because many on the right like to deliberately and intentionally, without proof or evidence, um, 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 direct the name or title pedophile to Democrats, I have no choice but to bring out that this is a Republican who is not guilty, who has been charged with these charges and alleged to have done this sexual abuse.
And I believe there was another pastor that got in trouble for
Yes.
sexual abuse. There's another MAGA pastor.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this stuff
Yes.
is popping up more and more, and it just like we always say, it's like projection. They keep.
Yes.
I mean,
And
they
these
call
are
all
not
Democrats
Democrats.
pedophiles, and
These are
no,
not
no.
Democrats. They are Republicans. And so I am screaming it out there. I'm screaming it out there. These are not Democratic individuals who are being arrested for alleged sexual abuse or rape, okay, or incest. These are Republicans. So it is a complete sense of deflection. And again, I wish I wouldn't have to bring it to that point, but I also wish Republicans would stop naming Democrats as pedophiles, like it's a word, like it's just throw it out there. That's
like
what they are,
like a nickname, yeah, like just like
like a
oh,
nickname.
Democrats were.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad, and definitely on a monthly basis, we're seeing a report of another Republican engaging in improprieties and sexual.
What was the other guy? We also had the other story. The guy that was financing that Sound of Bullshit movie, or I'm sorry, Sound of
Yes,
Freedom.
that was last week.
Yeah,
Yes.
that guy also arrested for kidnapping, and I mean, these people are a joke. Okay, I'm sorry,
And
but
again, this is serious. These are all serious allegations and situations. But I just can't help but to mention, again, that it's not by Democrats. And by no means does that mean that Democrats are great and don't get involved with these kind of things. I'm sure that they do. But the facts remain that more Republican situations come up in regard to these these crimes than Democrats. And we basically overall we wish that they wouldn't happen at all. But at minimum, if the Republicans can just stop, take care of your own backyard, and stop calling people a nickname, as you put it, when they're really not, just because they're against your narrative or your politics. It doesn't make them a pedophile.
Exactly.
Okay. Lastly, on our list, we get to talk about Mr. Mitch McConnell yet again. So last week, we discussed how he froze in front of the camera, right? For a couple of seconds. He just was in space. We don't know what
Blacked
happened.
out completely.
Blacked out completely. We definitely hope that he's okay. He seems to be okay, and he said that he was okay. But now recently, just this past weekend, he is on tape being booed by his own people in his own state of Kentucky while they chanted "retire." Is that not comical, humorous? Retire.
That is. Do you have that
Retire.
one loaded up, or do you want me to go ahead and load it?
I got that for you right now.
Perfect. We have to show that. That's brutal. Brutal, I tell you.
Here we go.
He just keeps talking. Oh, there you go.
You can't even hear him.
I was just
Sad,
thinking the same
sad.
thing. You can't hear a thing
You
he's
can't even
saying.
hear him. You can't
Oh
even
my
hear him.
goodness.
And is
That's
that
gotta
not the
be
saddest
embarrassing.
thing? Your own people are chanting to retire.
That's a hint. But it's not just him. Dianne Feinstein, or however you pronounce her last name. I always get it wrong. Yeah, she just signed over power of attorney to her daughter. Yet she's in Congress or the Senate or whatever, making decisions for the country. Yet at home,
Right.
her daughter can make decisions for her. So
Well,
I think that is a pretty good indication somebody needs to get the hell out.
in defense of Miss Feinstein, who's 90 years old, she relinquished power of attorney to her daughter because something having to do with her husband that passed away, something about his affairs that needed to be sought through. And you know, Miss Senator Feinstein is 90 years old, and obviously needed the help and support of her daughter to do this, and that was why she handed a power of attorney over to her daughter Catherine, who's 66 years old. Now
And
that
that's
is
a good
what's
thing,
been
though. I'm not knocking that part of it. She should have done that. You know what I mean? Let her daughter handle that, because yes, she is 90 years old. But on the other side, I'm saying she's like still making decisions and voting and stuff for, you know, an entire country. She has a vote, a say so on what goes on with the entire country. I think it's time. I mean, 90 years old. Come on, just hang it up. You had a good career. Let's go. Let the next person take over, and let's usher in the future for now. You know what I mean? 90
Well,
is
you
good.
saw what happened in at a Congress meeting last week, right? She started to when they called on her, she started to make a statement when she was really just supposed to say yay
or nay.
And
Yeah.
somebody whispered into her ear, just say yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's time to retire. I mean, we talked about this in previous episodes about age and politics. Like,
Definitely.
it's hard to determine an exact age, but I think there should be. There's a minimum age. I believe there's a minimum age to, you know, be in Congress and president and all that stuff. There should be a maximum age as well.
That goes for both sides, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
there should be age limits, and there should also be term limits. And if asked my opinion, that age limit should be 80 years old. I think by 80 years old, enough is enough. Not just because you're older, but why the hell don't you want to live the rest of your years in tranquility and peace and relaxation and the sun, the beach, your house, your family, your grandchildren? Why would you rather spend your last years fighting and arguing in Congress?
That's the last thing I would want to do is do that at 80 years
too.
old. And I would be like, are you crazy? I don't want to do that job. Even if they offered it to me, like, no, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to chill. I'm 80 years old. Leave me alone. But
Especially,
some people, but he's been doing it for so long.
People say that or have that feeling at 40, 50 years old, let alone 80. I mean,
I'll give him credit though. Biden's in decent shape for an 80-year-old man. You know what I mean? He's not in great shape, but you know, he's in better shape than some other people. I'm not gonna say it.
And in fact, just really quick of you saying that, during the arraignment process with the former guy last week, Biden was bike riding. That was in the news circle. Biden was bike riding. Very encouraging. Very encouraging. An 80-year-old riding his bike. He's not eating McDonald's. He's not publicly shoving down crap down his throat. He is continuously bike riding, which is very, very healthy for the heart.
And he does normal people stuff. Like oh my God. And I don't understand why the right makes they made such a big deal out of him laying in a beach chair on the beach. They're like, oh my God, look at him. He shouldn't be leading a country. Look at him. He's laying on the beach. I'm like, what is the problem? Like, you have literally nothing to complain about.
It's another one of those hypocritical moments, right?
It's like,
again, we don't want to bring up what presidents are doing or have done, but when we come up with situations like this, we have no choice. So Trump has gone golfing 1,000,000 times during his 4
you
years
said his name,
in
damn
office. Yeah, but we're at the end, so
all right. Sorry.
He's gone golfing 1,000,000,000 times, and so why are we looking at Biden, who's sitting, pictured being on a beach reading a book, as if he doesn't have the right to do that?
Yeah, they make it sound like he's a crazy person for laying in a beach chair.
Yeah.
Spending time with your family. I mean, I know they don't like their own family, but some people actually like their families. Some even love their families. But we're dealing with people that literally hate each other.
Right?
So they don't understand the concept of love and like. They're like, what? What do you mean? Joy? What is joy? I don't understand.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. All right. That concludes this week's Week in Review. Thank you, Jeremy, for
of course, my dog barks there for the last couple seconds.
That's
thanks
okay.
Again.
He gets his last word in, right? All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I'll talk to you later.
All right. We'll be back next week with next week's Week in Review. To all. Definitely enjoy this week. I don't know if it's going to be hot or cool or manageable, but we shall see. Please follow, like, and share the live. Also, any questions or comments that you may have in regards to today's program or any other shows, please don't hesitate to send those in to us. We love to read our audience's comments, as well as stay tuned for some sound offs this week, as well as another podcast, the Esteban Hour podcast that airs Friday nights at 8 p.m. Okay. Also, really quick, I wanted to add as well, if you'd like to be a guest on the Esteban Hours Week in Review or podcast, you can send a DM now or at any time, excuse me, and pose us. What is your story or your experience that you would like to share with us, or that you would just like to be a guest? Someone will get in contact with you. Okay. All right. With that said, if you've had a goal that you've accomplished or achieved today, don't forget to say to yourself, this